Hey, Chad Peterman here, your host of the Can't Stop the Growth podcast, a show that advances the home services industry and beyond. In this exclusive series, I've joined forces with Camp Digital to bring you powerful learnings that advance you and your business in the realm of all things marketing. Together, we bring content that empowers you to build a positive, healthy workplace for you, your people, and your bottom line. So let me officially pass the mic to Camp Digital for today's episode, chock full of insights that you can take and apply to your growth. Now listen and grow.
Welcome to Around the Campfire. I'm Katie Donovan, CEO of Camp Digital, and I'm excited to share conversations with real home service business owners and executives. Some of my favorite people who I think are the industry's top leaders, innovators, and trailblazers. Each episode, we dive into stories behind successful home services businesses, the wins, the challenges, and everything in between. Our goal, to share real stories from real people. So grab a seat around the campfire and let's get started. Hi, Katie Donovan with Camp Digital. I am here with someone who I have gotten to know pretty well over the last several months to a year, and I've been really, really lucky to get to know her. Laura Koester. Laura is from Champions Group. Laura, you're the head of marketing over there. Thank you so much for joining us. I know you're super, super busy, so I really do appreciate you taking time.
Oh, of course, Katie. You do amazing work, and I love working with you, and I've enjoyed getting to know you. So any opportunity to talk to you is a good opportunity.
Well, and this one's a little not fair because Laura's got such an amazing background, not from the trades, that every time I talk to her, she teaches me something. So I'm really looking forward to today. Let's jump right in. Tell me a little bit about your background. Share with us a little bit about, how you got to where you're at and some of that background I was alluding to, not from the trades.
Of course. So I've been in marketing over 20 years, and I started off in subscription services and consumer marketing. So a whole bunch of different companies, telecom, internet, cable TV, a whole host of them. And really enjoyed it. Great career. And then they wanted me to move to Stamford, Connecticut, which was a great company, great city, great everything. I'm just a SoCal gal. And the idea of snow like every day as opposed to just visiting it was a little overwhelming. So I ended up finding myself helping out and working for a company that owns veterinary hospitals. I'm a dog lover. I have 3 dogs. It's my passion.
What kind of dogs? Because I'm a dog person myself. What are your dogs?
Okay. So I've got the smallest, which is a terrier mix called Ripley, who thinks she's a standard poodle. Why does she think she's a standard poodle? Because she lives with 2 other standard poodles. So I love dogs, love veterinary. It was really part of my passion. And then home services came around. And what I really loved about home services is I have a lot of respect for the people who do the work. It's hard work. There is nothing easy about it. These are people who work their butt off, who have to come in and explain things to people which they don't understand, not unlike the veterinary. My air conditioning doesn't talk. I don't know what's wrong with it. I got to trust you on it. I hope I'm making the right decision. So very similar situation. And by and large, the people I'm working with are just amazing and wonderful and really care. They want to do right by the person.
I love that analogy. I hadn't thought about that until you shared that so many of these localized small businesses, it's the same thing. I didn't think about needing a vet. I don't have one on call right away in case something happened to my dog at 2 a.m. Same thing. I live in Minnesota. It is warmer in your freezer than it is outside in the winter in Minnesota, right? If my furnace goes out, same thing as that vet at 2 a.m. I'm calling someone saying, how fast can you get here? Can I trust you? How fast can you get here? And please, God, let them solve my problem.
Right. And let you be good. I don't want to be taken advantage of. And we all know what you're doing is you're Googling at 2 a.m.
Yeah.
Right.
That's right. Laying in bed. Yeah.
I've done that more than enough nights of like 3 a.m. dog driving to some vet. But it's the same thing. You don't know. I mean, I remember once suddenly all the gas appliances in my house stopped working. My husband was on a fishing trip. So he was deep sea fishing, couldn't reach them. And I'm like, is it broken? Or is there something else? And
or is my house going to blow up? Yeah.
Or is my house going to blow up? Suddenly, what is it? And we had a contractor friend who was very nice to me and drove over and he's like, yeah, I think someone just hit the automatic shut off and that was it. And I was so grateful to have James, he's a friend of mine, that he could come over and do it. But again, it's the same thing. It's who do I trust? I'm unfamiliar. I don't know it. And so that's, again, what I like about home services is you have some really good people doing really good stuff and trying to connect them to potential customers or keep going with their customer base who know there's good people. And then the other thing that I think that makes really interesting about this, because if you're looking for boring marketing, don't come here. This is totally challenging as home services.
And changing every second. Yeah.
Every second. This is not for the faint of heart. Is that, as we all know, people are trying to figure out where to put that next dollar. The price of eggs is insane. I don't know if do I need to repair this? Do I need to fix this? And as you said, and I love this story, that even if they decide to do the investment, it's one of those invisible investments. It's a big price tag, but the outcome is invisible. I buy a car, I show my friends. As you said, no one comes over and you say, hey, can I show you my new water heater? It's really cool. And it is really cool. I mean, again, but no one does. And so they're always hesitant to put the money there. And so again, it's back to trust and understanding. And then on the marketing side, it's making sure that the brands, these companies, these home services companies are right there. When you're searching, we're the first to find.
If you could make a water heater look like Brad Pitt, I'd probably show it off, Laura. I'm just saying, like, if you guys, I feel like Champions Group, you might have some pull there. You guys could probably do that, but
yeah, I don't know about that one.
I don't think I'd leave my utility room if you made it look like Brad Pitt, my poor husband.
True. I'm now trying to think of how I can make a water heater cool that you'd want to show it off.
I don't think
They'd have to have maybe it has infrared measurements and says, this is how many people. Oh.
You could do it like the Sphere in Las Vegas, like just make it all like and we could do cool design. Listen, if this whole marketing thing doesn't work out for us, we might have a side gig here, Laura.
Yeah, I think everyone's like, please keep your day jobs. And they're probably even now questioning us on our day jobs at this point.
I was so excited when you said you would join us on the podcast, primarily because of the timing that you came into the space. I think for many years, there's been a rhythm to it. It hasn't changed much. But the year that you've been at Champions Group running their marketing for a lot of locations, big, small, epic brands. I think when I was out there, I told you how honored I was to be sitting in a brand that I think, in our space is legendary. But that last year, you've seen some wild changes. Is there one challenge that kind of jumps out at you from the beginning that you're like, man, I wish I would have known this, or this was the greatest challenge I've faced so far?
So when you go into a new industry, everything's new. I could say everything felt new and a little surprising. I think one of the biggest surprising things within the industry is you talk to people, and I'm listening to podcasts like yours and others that everyone's struggling a bit with, is the concept that we're going to get fewer leads. That's the biggest one. That is the biggest one. And I know I lose sleep over it, and I know my operational partners, which hats off. I mean, I'm just so lucky to be here. I work with some of the best operators in the industry. As you've shared with me, Google's like, hey, you're going to get fewer leads. You're going to get better quality leads. You're going to get fewer leads. And between all of us, we'll probably pay more, which means those leads that come in, they're like gold. And so it makes everything a little bit more nerve-wracking. Like, am I really covered for lunch? Are they really going to answer the phone? Well, if she walks over here or they walk over there, am I now going to miss a few phone calls? And oh God, I'm getting fewer phone calls, so that really matters. And then what did I do with that phone call? Was that really a bookable lead? Was that not a bookable lead? I think that's a big change for everyone. And the other one that I would say, and this is just from talking to people, is that marketing in this industry, and again, I can liken it a little bit to veterinary, in that it used to be you could do some home run marketing. And what I mean by home run is you just do a few things and it would get you a home run, right? It used to be that, hey, pay this digital agency and you'll do a home run. We'll all do great. We'll send out some direct mail, home run. Because before it was just relatively easier. It was referrals and, COVID was a thing of glory, and now we're past that. So now it's a lot harder. People aren't spending as much. They're trying to decide where to put their dollar, repair versus replace, all that great stuff. So now it's about base runs in my mind. That's the other surprising thing that I think we're all talking about, is there is no home run tactic. If I just do this, I will do amazing. It's no, you got to be good at everything. Are you answering your phones? How's your pay-per-click? How's your SEO? How's your Google business profile? Oh my God, where's your LSA? Are you answering your LSA? Do you have message leads on? Where are your reviews? What's your score?
I love that. I love that base run analogy because I think so many of us, it's a lot of folks in the space who have large platforms and they say like, oh, if you do this and follow me and do this, you're going to, but it's not. It's about all of the incremental little base runs. I love that. I'm stealing that. The base runs. I always talk about the fundamentals, making sure your fundamentals are covered. Are you answering the call? And if you're not answering the phone over lunch, why are you paying for leads at that time? I mean, if, for whatever reason, that's not your shtick, I always joke, I'm from Minnesota, you skate to where the puck is going, not to where the puck is. No, I love that base. It's about those base run hits, and it's going to be how you win the game. I love that.
And it's not easy.
No.
If someone says, well, I'm not doing all because my marketing sucks, maybe. It's also hard. It's also 100% hard.
Love talking to people who aren't from the space because, I came from automotive. In automotive, you brought out a shiny new vehicle and a shiny new color with a shiny new marketing campaign, and suddenly everybody has to have it, right? Like they have to, to your point, our point earlier, no one's going to care how shiny that water heater is. I'm not buying one until I need it. So you can't make it happen. I love that. Was there a wow, I did it moment in the last year? Like, wow, that was that base hit that helped me progress, and then you can think back on?
I think, and I don't know if this sounds right or not, but we brought in some really great people. There were some really great people here on the marketing team, and it was really shifting the mindset from trying to take a plan for one brand or one company and then multiply it several times. That's hard to do. So stepping back and kind of thinking about it from a scalable perspective, how can you do really well by a number of brands with the effort as opposed to one by one by one by one? I guess my analogy would be years ago, like 50, 60 years ago, people used the really mechanical cash register because there were so few and far, right? Like, oh yeah, I can type in the code for a banana. And then suddenly you have the swipers because the volume is just so much. So anyways, back to some base runs. One is getting the right people, and really excited. I had some really great people that I got to work with here. They're already here. And then we added some new folks to the team, and where we put our people that I think really worked is we have them focused on our brands.
I love that because it kind of goes along with your base run. Like you didn't get one person who can try and, knock it out of the park. You focused on those individual pieces and put people responsible for those individual pieces.
So people felt accountable. And what we try to talk about, and I try to encourage in the team, is you should be sweating the revenue as much as the GM, the general manager sweat. You should know it. You should know their weather. You should know what's going on. And you should have a plan. And that's the other thing, which is, I think, relatively kind of new for this industry, in that it's so weather dependent that you're like, I can't think about next month till I can't. Who knows what that'll look like? But the problem, what we're finding is, again, because of this base run thing, that if you have plans for 20 weeks out, you can alter it all day long. Doesn't really matter. You just know that on the second week, you're going to be doing this, or on the third week, you'll be doing this. So then the discussion is, how do you adjust the plan as opposed to, oh my God, it's February 17th. What are we doing on February 25th? That's too late. I mean, it's getting ahead of it.
You guys have like a framework, and then what you hang in it, that framework can change based off of need, but you have a framework you're modeling against. I love that.
I believe in people. And so you hire people who feel ultimately responsible and really care a lot. And you say, okay, I need to see what you're going to be doing for the next 20 weeks. And so that when you're actually in the month, you're working with the GM and talking about the next 2 weeks, but you're not panicking about 3 months out or 2 months out, because you have conversation topics already set up that you'll come back to them and talk to them about that.
Tell me something you're really proud of. I mean, you're talking about your people. I imagine it's going to be something but is there something that in this last year you're particularly proud of in the journey?
I think it's the people. As as leaders, you hire great people, you take the obstacles out of their way, you support them, you get them to do great work. We're only as good as our people. And a brand is only as good as that technician in the house, 100%. I'm not as important as the technician and the installer in the house. Not even close. That is the definition of the brand. And so then if you think kind of out concentric circles, kind of that, throw the rock in the pond and see how it goes out, like that technician in the home is the most important one. And then it's the support systems behind him. And so my people are closer to that support, to that technician than I am. That's why they're so important. And so hiring people that really care and can build great plans. And as I said, working with you and really leaning into the world of digital is changing. That was another one. It's like, instead of saying, hey, why is it not working? Let's see about, as you said, where's the puck going? Google's not going to get any simpler.
No, it's not. You bring up a really interesting question, and I want to touch on if you may. But, I think people think about Champions Group. It's a group, PE. It's easy for you to hire people. But I actually find that with the PEs, it's harder because if I'm an independent business owner, I want to hire someone, I check with my committee of self and decide I'm going to hire them, right? You have to justify that hire to your leadership team, to other folks on the team, to the team you're working with. How do you decide when it's a good time to hire someone or when the need's there that you can justify? How do you deal with that?
It's a great question. And I will say I've worked at a lot of organizations. This has been the most supportive in making sure we hire the right marketing people. Hands down. I've worked at some really big companies, big brands, the most supportive of it. And I keep talking about people, but it's not like I'm hiring a tremendous number of people. It's hiring the right person for the right spot. And I'm a firm believer that if someone else can't say what that person does, then do you really need that person? So again, I lean into marketing partners for my GMs, and they support not one GM, but multiple GMs. So then are we getting support for that GM, for that brand, for what it needs? And then, of course, things are divided by region and area. So you're like, okay, you guys are all kind of in summer. You start summer around the same time. You'll start furnace season around the same time. And if I look at someone, I'm like, I don't know what you do. Then we have to figure out maybe is there not enough work? Is the person in the wrong spot? Are you doing the right work? Or is it a project that seemed like a really great idea?
Yeah.
But I mean, you should always try things, and some things are going to fail. Maybe it was something that really on paper seemed like a really great idea, but in truth, it was convoluted, complicated, or didn't drive the results we wanted.
You mentioned that digital marketing's changing. I've been preaching this. Like I read an article from the CEO of Google talking about how 2025 is going to have more changes in digital marketing than he's seen in the career. How do you keep on top of it? What do you do? Is there resources that you're looking at that people should be looking at to make sure they're staying on top of all those changes?
I honestly connected with great partners like Camp Digital, 100%. Maybe reading some blog posts, trying to keep up with what everyone else in the podcast and everything else. We're all trying to keep up at the same time. And then I look for themes and trends because, as you said, one group will say backlinks is the way of life, and others will say backlinks is akin to a ring of hell.
Can it be both? Can it be the way of life and a ring of hell, I think?
It really could, because the world's changing. You know what it is when I hear absolutes, that's when I start to question.
Yeah, me too. I always laugh because I feel like, do you ever watch little kids play soccer and they all run to the ball, then they all run to the ball, and they all run. That's what I feel like we're all doing now. Like, oh, whatever. Oh, I gotta go over here. Yeah, and you don't want to be left behind, and you're trying to see if it works. And yeah, it's been a ride.
But again, it's back to the base hits. It's constantly trying and saying, okay, it'd be great if I got a few home runs, and that's lovely. Who's going to say no to a home run? But the teams who win are not just the teams with the one home run guy all the time. And then also, if you staying on baseball analogy, which oddly I don't play it, but love watching it, is when they train the team, they don't say, okay, guys, let's spend the next 2-3 weeks on everyone training how to do home runs. It's the practice, it's the discipline, it's the routine, it's the boring, hard work. And when people think of marketing, they usually think, oh, pretty colors, pretty pictures. It's really the discipline. It's the planning. It's looking at the results, what's working, what's not, keeping on top of what's working. In one of the benefits of our group, of any large group, is you get to learn from each other. And I love Champions Group because it's very much a culture where it is learn from each other.
How do you decide? So this is a great question I've been asking a lot of folks recently because, you're in a great position. You sit over, like I said, multiple brands, large brands, small brands, new brands, old brands. How do you decide what those key, for somebody who's smaller company, eating the elephant a bite at a time, how do you decide what those KPIs are that they should start looking at? Do you have any guidance on that? Like, what do you start?
Well, I'm going to tell you what I was told when I started. And I'm sure they're looking at it. So honestly, I wouldn't ask the newbie which they should look at. I feel kind of like telling the master, and you are the master, and the folks listening on are masters as well. Everyone looks at revenue. I look at revenue. I also look at sales. And then I look at phone calls in. And then I know the whole argument. Well, some of the phone calls is someone asking for a job. And then there's a phone call for where's my technician? Those trends are relatively the same unless you've made a big change like you have an upfront IVR message. But for the most part, they're the same. So you can start looking at that and saying, how well am I answering my phone call? How many are coming through? And then here's a win. And you do this. Whatever digital agency you're working with, ask for a weekly report. Ask for data. That's the one thing about this industry that surprised me because it is no one would know it, but it's a very data-driven industry. You have to be, right? How many sales did I make? What kind of jobs did I send? How many jobs per person? I mean, it's very data-driven. And in meeting with agencies and talking to agencies and all of that, I'm like, so can I see the weekly report? And they're like, I kind of do that every month, maybe. No one's asked, Laura. They're not against it. They're just like, no one asked. So I would treat your marketing like you treat your business. If you're asking for a lot of data from your business, you should be asking a lot of data from your marketing.
Yeah, I'm a huge fan. I mean, data talks, right? I'm a huge, huge fan of that. Is there advice you'd give someone who's looking to scale their business? I mean, again, you've got such a great perspective. Is there one piece of advice you could think of off your top of your head for someone listening who's like, I'm ready to scale. I'm ready to grow.
Find that marketing partner for yourself and not the marketing. So if you have a marketing partner who comes in and says, guess what? I only deliver home runs. That's a question. I only deliver home runs and it's all social media posts on Instagram. Okay, great. Maybe they are. God bless. But you need that discipline. What are your offers? When are you going to send them out? It's raining. Are you going to do something about that? Maybe, maybe not. Is this someone who will look at the weather with you every 2 weeks? Is this someone who will look at your data? Is this someone who knows how to open up Excel? Like that's becoming one of my new tests. Can you open up Excel and do I'm not asking for complex. Can you add and subtract in Excel or Google Sheets? And if you're like, that's not my thing, I don't know if that's the right marketing person for you if you want to scale. If you're looking for pure creative, go hire an agency. If you want to scale, get someone who can look and do comparison of your brands and build plans for you and look at it as, I hate the word portfolio because it is so corporate. And that's another thing I love about this industry. I love just the human, you could be human and you can use words you'd use at a barbecue as opposed to the big corporate.
It sounds like I think a lot of your answers have come around and I actually love this. It's just take a second to plan. You don't have to stick to every little piece, but just have that framework, that plan in mind and know what it is you want, what to expect. Because I like your question about the data because, even if I measure this as an inch every single time, if I'm using that same measurement, I can see if I'm growing or if I'm not.
Right. And it's not absolute data. It's just trend. You're looking for trends. Marketing for the most part is looking for trends. It's like when my kids went to a really groovy, great elementary school. And I remember asking, I was the newbie parent, how is my kid doing in comparison to the class? And the teacher nicely looked at me and said, that's not how we measure. We measure how your child is doing against themselves. Now, as the kind of type A parent at the time, I have since mellowed out, I was a little freaked out. But I do think it's actually a really good strategy for business and for home services especially as the market dynamics change so consistently. How are you doing compared to where you're doing yesterday?
I love that because so many times in this space, we have a really bad mentality of keeping up with the Joneses and we see these big guys and big gals. We all want to be like them, but I just need to get a little bit better. You cannot go from a $600,000 shop to a $10 million shop overnight. There's all those incremental steps in between. And I think that's great advice.
And you may, and maybe you will. I mean, honestly, I think if you work hard and you really focus, two things. One is your marketing will only be as good as your operation.
Yeah, amen. Yes.
If your reviews suck, if you don't answer the phone, if you don't, there's only so much, right? And then the incrementality is recognizing the incrementality so you know what's working well. So that when my kid was getting better at learning how to read, it wasn't that they were better or worse than the top reader. I'm like, okay, I see progress. Where do I need to work next? And then the other place it works, because as every marketing person in HVAC knows, every operator goes in and says, I Googled us. And we were not number one. Oh my God.
Oh, every day and twice on Fridays. Every day. Yep.
Completely valid, right? And I get that. And I'm like, well, it's not going to always be the top three, but that kind of feels like a cop-out answer. So what I'm trying to have everyone refocus is, am I getting more organic search than I did last month for the seasonality? So it's June. Did I get the same amount as last June? Did I not? Is the traffic the same, knowing that I'm going to get fewer leads? Like, how is that going so that you're always pushing yourself? And I see that the operations who push themselves against who they are, and really proud of that, again, they do so well. And again, I'm lucky. I work with some of the most amazing, down-to-earth, hardworking, data-driven operators, care about the people. I'm just lucky.
One of the best in the business I ever worked with, his name was Akrit. He was at Apex for a while, and he used to say to me all the time, good marketing cannot overcome bad operations, but good operations can overcome bad marketing.
100%.
Lead with I love that. So you've been in home services for just about a year. So this might be a little unfair, but I'm going to ask anyway. If you could go back that 1 year and give yourself one piece of advice, what would you have given yourself starting out a year ago?
Drains are not plumbing and plumbing are not drains.
Hey. Oh, yes. Amen. I love that. That might become my new ringtone, Laura, for you, by the way. I might clip that for a ringtone. I love that. All right. We're going to go fast paced. This is meant to be kind of quick here, and then we'll wrap it up. What's your favorite way to start your day?
Oh, I'm looking for my favorite way. I don't have a favorite way yet.
You don't?
No. I do. Okay. So when I get to the office, I've got my tea, and I like pulling up the data from the prior day. And if we're seeing better than the prior week by brand, then my day's a little good. And when I'm seeing it's not weather related, I'm starting to send little messages. Hey, we're meeting. What's going on here? What do we think?
But yeah, when someone calls me, one of the first things I do is pull up their call board. So I know right away from the data, is this going to be a good call or is this going to be a bad call? Favorite book, podcast, or resource for business insights?
Oh, so I'm going to go podcast, but I don't have one. I mean, I do like listening to yours, so shout out to you. Is that I go through the HVAC ones and I just look for the titles. And I look for the topics. They're like, hey, search is low. I mean, just God bless. This industry is really good about the headlines will tell you and then the show notes will tell you. So I can get through a lot quickly.
You guys use Searchlight, but they've got a great blog he sends out or newsletter he sends out for anyone who doesn't have it. I highly recommend it. It's a great one because it's got a lot of those headlines in it.
I'm going to ask you that. Katie, what do you listen to? What do you say is the best for this industry?
I'm a nerd. I don't mind reading it. So support.google.com.
All right.
They tell you everything that's coming. They really do. They're pretty direct about it. Last couple here. What's one tool or piece of technology you cannot live without in business?
Excel.
Yeah, you said that right. I got it. Your greatest strength as a business leader?
I really want to see those that I am privileged to work with succeed.
I love that. But I also think you have probably one of the most interesting intellectual curiosities of anyone I've ever worked with. And I think that leads you to lots of great questions. I love that about my experience with you.
Oh, you're very sweet. In past reviews, that was called really quirky.
Right. One time I said, just sharing some feedback with Google, and they said, we really appreciate your unvarnished feedback. And I thought, well, that means they don't want to hear from me ever again. All right, last two. Favorite way to unwind after a long day?
Oh, well, I have a lot. I love walking with my dogs, which then they may be hearing me talk to them about however that day has gone and why is this not working. And What do you mean a drain's not plumbing and plumbing's not drained? Like, what is that? It looks like it. That's one of them. Stupid TV or just happy-go-lucky. Happy-go-lucky movies, mindless, makes me happy, good endings. I love to read, so reading always makes me happy. I'm trying to think of the most, like, science fiction is one of my favorites. Oh, Hail Mary. That, I would say in the past year and a half, that was a book I read. I loved Hail Mary.
Oh, I love that. Last one. This is a trick. This is a hard one for a lot of people. One word to describe your business journey in home services so far.
A wild ride.
Wilds. Yeah, it's funny. I get that one a lot. So, Laura, I cannot tell you how much I appreciate you taking the time. We are so lucky to have you. For anyone who doesn't know, she was very modest about her background. It's a phenomenal background. Laura has forgotten more about marketing than most of us will know in our lifetime. So thank you for taking all the time to join us and share with us today.
Thank you, Katie. Thank you.
Thanks for tuning in. If you'd like to connect with me personally, you can find me at chadmpeterman.com. To see what our team's up to, you can visit petermanbros.com. Don't forget to check out the YouTube channel and consider joining the CSTG arena. As always, keep growing out there.